Welcome, friends. This is Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric,
And I'm David.
and college football is back. Today, we are previewing Mizzou's opening week matchup against Central Michigan. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook and Instagram. So, David, Mizzou's back. It is year two of the Coach Drink era. And what are you looking forward to most with the season getting ready to kick off?
Honestly, just the atmosphere, the fans back in the stands, the smell of barbecues outside. I'm overall just excited about having football back and being able to see everybody go watch it.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Coach Drink operates in a non-COVID type of season. I mean, COVID's still a thing, but we're here to look at this game against Central Michigan. And, that in 2020, they went 3-3 playing an all MAC schedule that was fourth in the Western Division. This 2021 is going to be the third year for former coach Jim McElwain, former Florida coach Jim McElwain.
Yeah, I mean, he took a absolutely garbage team, is actually putting a decent product on the field. How they compete against Mizzou, I don't know. I don't think they'll be able to keep up. But, I mean, we'll get to that when we get to our predictions.
Yeah. To your point, in 2018, they went 1-11. Then they hired Jim McElwain. They went 8-4. Then in 2020, they went 3-3. So, I think they're going to be a pretty decent team. A good solid test for Mizzou. Like you said, this isn't like they're playing, Southeast, Northeast, Louisiana Polytech State University or something. They're playing, a fairly solid program. Taking a look at the Chippewas, their offense in 2020 had 420 yards a game. That was good for 44th in FBS, so a little above average. Coming into this year, there's a quarterback competition. So in the research I did, I could not find an article where there was a starting quarterback named. Right now, they're looking at the incumbent starter, Daniel Richardson, and they're also looking at Jacob Sermon, who is a transfer from Washington. And Dave, Richardson had 4 starts as quarterback last year. 714 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pair of interceptions. So nothing spectacular there. Really, it would have been their running game, but their running game has taken a serious blow.
Yeah, Kobe Lewis had a non-contact knee injury, ended up having to have surgery on it, and is most likely to be out for the whole season. Therefore, their leading rusher is just not going to be in the game and available.
Without Kobe Lewis, the running game is going to rely on Lou Nichols, who, not even though Lewis is the best running back, Nichols was actually the leading rusher for the Chippewas in 2020 with 504 yards. It's, I don't know. You feel bad for Lewis. You read non-contact injury to the knee, and that screams torn ligament in the knee. So, with that and surgery, yeah, he's probably out all year, as you said.
I will say games like this sometimes trip Mizzou up, or have in the past, especially when you're talking about a quarterback competition, because they could switch quarterbacks out, and then the defensive scheme will be all messed up because they're not prepared for the other quarterback. With our new defensive zoning and our new D coordinator and everything, it'll be interesting to see how Mizzou handles if there is a quarterback change or a scheme change or anything like that mid-game.
Yeah, that'll be something that Steve Wilkes will have to have as part of his game plan. Is what if Jim McElwain, what if he's got a quick hook and in the second quarter realizes, what, I named the wrong guy the starter, and makes the switch. That's something that Wilkes and Drinkwitz, they're going to have to be ready for something like that. Now, taking a look at the Chippewas defense, they gave up an average. They gave up 427.7 yards per game. That is 82nd in the FBS, so not so great. They gave up 297 passing yards per game, nearly 300 a game. So it'll be interesting to see how Connor Bazelak is able to do against that pass defense. I think part of that's going to be obviously dependent on the offensive line, how they gel, new guys rotating in and all that, without Larry Borum, who was just awesome in pass protection. Let's face it. And Dominic Lovett, how's he going to do? Mookie Cooper, some nagging injuries. I don't think we're going to know until game day, honestly. He may not play in this first game. And it's one of those where if you can rest him, do it. Hopefully Cooper doesn't have to play for Mizzou to win. Hopefully it's not that close. Now, looking at the Chippewas defense, their leading tackler in 2020 was their linebacker, George Douglas. He had 45 tackles, but there were 3 other guys who had 40 or more tackles. So pretty well-rounded in terms of guys getting to the ball. They're not super dependent on one superstar like Mizzou had with Nick Bolton last year. When Bazelak is throwing the ball, he'll want to be careful for Willie Reed. He led Central Michigan with 3 interceptions last year. So that'll be the guy to watch. Expect him to be matched up, I would guess, probably against Kiki Chisholm.
Yeah, and a couple of keys for Mizzou I'm looking for on offense is how well can they run the ball without Larry Roundtree? Because now you have Tyler Beatty, and can we find a couple of other backs who can help Beatty carry the load? That's something to look forward to in this game. The other thing I would say is, can Connor Bazelak get a downfield passing game going?
Yes.
Last year on average, he was throwing at most 20 yards downfield, and that will come in to play with Kiki Chisholm, Lovett. If Mookie Cooper's back, can they stretch the defenses? Now on Mookie Cooper, I could see them holding him out to throw another wrench into the system for when they play Kentucky.
Yeah.
And open up their playbook more for Kentucky. However, I don't think this is one of those games where you can really play conservatively because you never know what Central Michigan is going to end up doing.
Yeah, ask Oklahoma State a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so I really see Drinkwitz opening up the playbook, allowing Bazelak to actually take some downfield shots, and if he can do that, it will especially open up our running game and in our screen short passing game as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they scheme our offense for this first week. Defensively, I am looking to see how well the defense gels in general with Steve Wilkes as a coordinator in the new schemes. Last year, especially in our secondary, they predominantly played man. I know Wilkes was talking about implementing his own defense, and I can tell you through watching a few of their practices, the defensive backs look very much improved and are actually able to step in front of balls and pick off. So I expect to see a few more turnovers this year. Just something I am looking forward to seeing, and especially against a somewhat decent offense for Central Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, prediction time, David. For me, I think there's going to be a little bit of that kind of just getting the cobwebs out, just kind of feeling your way through the first quarter type situation. I think Mizzou will get it going. And I think they're going to keep Central Michigan at arm's length for the most of this game and end up winning this game 33-20.
Okay. And honestly, I think along the same lines with you with Central Michigan score, I was actually going to have them score 21 points. However, I think Mizzou, once they get rolling on offense, I think they're just going to be too much for Central Michigan and end up scoring 42 points on them. So I think the score is going to be 42-21. And it is important to note that the Vegas odds right now have Mizzou winning at 13.5 points.
Yeah. That line's held pretty steady.
Yes, I think it opened originally at 11, moved to 13 and a half, and since then hasn't moved at all. So I think they have a good read on this game as well. And I think, anyway, that's all we have for this week's preview for Mizzou and Under the Arch Sports. Thank you for watching.